straight away, but we'll find out in due course. And it has started streaming. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Late Night Live with me, myself, Nick McCabe, and Sam McCabe. Saturday night, he doesn't want to move to United. This is the news that we've got incoming from Fabrizio Romano in regards to Viktor Gyokeres giving Arsenal his priority. No one knows why you would give that bottle club the priority, but that is the news coming out. Maybe we're not the team we thought at the start of the window when we were saying we still got the big pull. Apparently not with Gyokeres, it seems. Now, the news that's coming out, Sam, is Gyokeres' priority is to join Arsenal this summer despite calls from Manchester United in recent weeks. Gyokeres always an option, and Sesko talks with no deal sealed so far. Arsenal keep assessing the situation. United remain keen but believe a deal is now unlikely. A little bit late to react just because we was out and stuff. Obviously jumping on it a little bit late, but still, I want to get a reaction from you, Sam, on this news, because it's, yeah, are you gutted? Are you a bit confused? What are you feeling?
I'm not gutted, because I just think, again, like, our whole philosophy this summer has been get players who want to come to the club.
Yeah.
Don't get mercenaries or people who are coming for various purposes, and clearly his purpose is Champions League, and that's what he wants. Now, going to Arsenal, you're probably not going to compete for the Champions League, if we're being honest. So,
depends what you mean by compete. What do you mean by compete?
I don't think they can win it. I don't think they're capable of winning it.
I think with a striker like Gyokeres, it might turn that.
They're that club. They just bottle things. Like, that's just what they do. Like, they're very, very good, but they just can't get over the line. And I think Arteta's going to run out of road at some point. But whether that's this season or not, I don't know. So he's clearly going for a payday, because that's what you're in the Champions League for. You get the better money, you get the more exposure, etc. So if he doesn't want to be at United for the right reasons, then I don't want him at the club, quite frankly. So I'm happy to move on. It's just a bit annoying that a really good player is going to Arsenal, isn't it? That's the annoying bit. That's the really annoying bit.
I think with me, it surprised me slightly because I look at the way Arsenal play, and I look at what they currently desire in a number 9, and I feel like it is a bit of a poacher, an instinctive player like a Ruud van Nistelrooy, let's say, for example, who will, when Saka squares it or when Ødegaard puts a ball in, is able to get on the end of those chances and finish it. And for me, Gyokeres, when you watch him, he's the type of player who likes to drift wide, he likes to beat a man, he likes to run into channels, and kind of power his way through things. I don't know if it's a like-for-like fit, and maybe that's why they was kind of umming and ahhing on it, the situation. But when you look at the striker pool at the minute, obviously they're looking at Sesko directly, who I think United have obviously scouted extensively before, but seems like quite a pricey deal. And then Gyokeres for probably less, which is probably why they're leaning towards that, and why they've got the guarantee now with Gyokeres, and he's happy to kind of make that move. But whichever way you look at it, every striker we've mentioned, Sam, so whether it's Osimhen, Ekitike, who we'll talk about in a moment as well, yeah, Sesko, Gyokeres, you're looking around 70 million, aren't you? Regardless. So, is he the best option out of that pool?
I mean, he is on paper, isn't he? Because I think he fits the system. He's obviously worked with a manager before. I think he'd play really well with Mbeumo and Cunha and Bruno. I think that'd be a really exciting link-up. But it's not to be, is it? It's not to be. Now, like, I'm sure we'll get onto the other people that we'll sort of touch on and stuff like that, but they've all got their flaws and stuff like that. He kind of seemed like a good price. The wage demands weren't insane, and he fits the system and he fits the manager, so it sort of ticked. And he's experienced. Like, he's an experienced striker in the top league and in the Champions League, so it ticked every box. But he's chosen Arsenal, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes a player chooses a different club, and it depends as well, though, because they're still talking about Sesko, aren't they? I've seen Ben Jacobs say they're still looking at Sesko. So what happens if they go, nah, Gyokeres ain't the one, we want Sesko, and they get him? What happens to Gyokeres then?
Well,
what does he do?
From my personal point of view, having seen that news now, there is no way I want Gyokeres to join United. And people might think, oh, it's very flaky.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want him now. If you turn around and said you prefer to join United, you can't. That's quite concrete. You know,
No.
So if the deal doesn't happen now, he might actually move himself out of a move genuinely just to the Premier League in itself.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's kind of backed himself into a corner.
Yeah.
That if Arsenal don't comfort him, what does he do? Where does he go? Like
Which
he's
that would
he's
then
kind of
make me
sort of stuck.
that would make me believe that maybe it's closer than what we think. Maybe they've given the initiation to kind of say we're going to start pushing for this deal now to go through. Now, whether the actual bid goes through
Yeah.
or not, whether we accept it because they've got their own dramas and such there, that's a completely different story. But to give priority there, he must have some kind of confidence from whether it's Arteta and the board, Andrea Berta, something there to go
Maybe.
like that. Because no player in the right mind would rule out two clubs like Arsenal and United.
No.
You'd keep your options open, wouldn't you? Like, logically. So, to me, it kind of, I don't know, something weird about it. But then
It's
we
possible.
go to the other strikers, Sam. We talk about Victor Osimhen, right, who we've spoken about plenty of times before. 26 years old, reported fee £63 million, £350,000 a week reported. That's his wage demand that he wants. Is that worth it for what you're going to get from him?
Again, it's a different problem. He is a top striker. I think he is the perfect profile for what we want and what we need. I think the price tag is fine, 63 million. Like, I'm not too sort of fussed with that. The wages, though, we've been down this road before, haven't we? We've been here before, getting massive wages on players and then them not working or they're not being here for the right reasons. Would he have come for a 250k a week pay packet? I don't think he does.
But
Especially
if
with
I
no
say to you,
European
Sam,
football.
if I say to you, he's going to deliver 25, 30 goals. I know nothing's guaranteed in life, but let's just play a hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
If I say he's going to get 25, 30 goals, right, in all comps or whatever, would you then allow that fee to be paid? Like the wages?
No, because I don't want United to be that club anymore. I don't want United paying out astronomical wages for players who are coming in for money. Like, I want to see players at the club who want to be here. And if that means missing out on potentially top players, if we could only get him because of wages, then I'm prepared for that. I'm sure a lot of fans aren't. I'm sure a lot of fans will be annoyed to it. Just get Osimhen, just get Osimhen. Like, it's that simple when it's not. I'd rather get players in like Cunha, who's fully aware that the Champions League's not on the table, no European football, but he wanted to come anyway. Like, that's the sort of player. And Mbeumo was giving his preference to United. Spurs are trying, but he's giving his preference to United. So I'd rather do that. I'm sure there's other strikers out there that we're looking at. We'll touch on a few later. And I'm sure there's some strikers that we've not mentioned that probably United might be looking at. And that might solve the thing for a year or two until we can sort of pick out the next top striker. Maybe somebody else. Maybe Ekitike has another couple of years in Frankfurt and becomes that guy. Maybe somebody else pops up. You never know, like this kind of thing. It's like things happen, things change very quickly.
I get the point on the wage thing, right? Because we signed Sancho, Casemiro, these players up to a similar wage, right? It didn't work out and ended up being a huge problem. But from the player's perspective, if Osimhen asking for around £300,000 a week, it might seem pricey to people, but if you're looking at other people in similar categories and putting up the numbers that he's doing in Europe, they're all on that money. Whether it's Salah, whether it's Haaland. So if someone says to me, you know, you're going to pay the same money as what Man City pay Haaland and you'll get that same return, I'll be like, I'll pay it. I don't care. I'll pay it.
We're not in a position to pay that, though. Like, we haven't
Are we
got
not?
the finances at the minute. Not at the minute.
Well, what's
like,
Cunha
we
on?
might do in the
Cunha's on
future.
£200,000 a week.
No, he's on less than that, I think. He's on
It's 180
I
to
think he's on
200k, and then Buemo's the same 180 to 200k. If you've got money to pay that for the players, you've got money to pay Osimhen.
I've seen reports for Mbeumo for 125k to like 150. So again, I'm not sure of pricing and stuff like that. I know there's been a lot of cuts, and apparently Rob Dawson was saying there's headroom and there's stuff to spend, but it just doesn't sit right with me paying a player that amount of money. It's just never ended well for us. De Gea, it went disastrous as well. Sanchez, it went disastrous as well. Like, De Gea was one of the best goalkeepers in Europe at the time, and then he just started dropping stinkers after he got that 350k a week. Rashford had a really good season, got 350k a week contract, and then just shit the bed, didn't he? Like, it just never ends well, and I don't want to do it. My personal opinion is I won't go for him unless he says he's happy to do 250k or less. That'd be only the reason, but it's not up to me. I don't make the decisions.
No, but I think the opinion is really important here, and I want to see what everyone else thinks, because there are options on the table, but I think all of them carry a risk. Osimhen, huge money. Ekitike, we'll talk about in a moment. Sesko, similar vibe to Ekitike. I'll probably say obviously more developed and been more consistent within seasons. But yeah, let's see what everyone else is saying. Late Night Gang, we've got Sid the Whistle, Brian Casey, Eniuma, we've got Anthony, we've got Brian, we've got Glenn, we've got we've got loads of these in the chat. So please do smash like in the video. I'll get into the poll more towards the end of the show, but I just want to get general thoughts for now. Brian saying, what an idiot to choose Arsenal over United. My exact thoughts when I saw the thing. Osimhen is the only one I want. That's from Sid the Whistle. Enya saying, so annoying. Anthony saying, going for United, United will compete for the top 10. It's hard to disagree, to be honest with you. You guys are good. I'm in for a sub. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that, Glenn. Really, really appreciate that. If anyone else would like to subscribe, we are on 16,720, pushing towards 17k. So if you would like to take a leaf out of Glenn's book, that'd be amazing. And we've got Tamsgen Deliso saying United. I want Edison, Kang, Lee Hayden, Hackney, Aiden Hackney, and Buemo Osimhen to United. Better for next season. So he's putting in his transfer list there. On Ekitike, Sam, this is where we're talking about risks here. Obviously, Osimhen is definitely a financial risk, right? But Ekitike, 22 years old, £80 million reported fee. He's on around 60k a week base wage, right? Yeah. This season, or last season, should I say, in all competitions, 22 goals and 12 assists in all comps, which is a pretty good return. Good before that, 4 goals and 2 assists, and the year before that, 4 goals and 4 assists. For a price tag of £80 million, is this not Hoyland territory, do you think?
Yeah, it's... Unless that price tag drops dramatically, it shouldn't be an option for United. Like, we shouldn't even be considering paying 80 million for a guy who's had a decent season, but he's not been consistent with it. Like, he's not hit those numbers consistently. So paying 80 million is just out of the question in my eyes for him. He's a good player. I like the thing, but again, Frankfurt don't have to sell. They've just made money from Marmoush. They made money from the defender they sold. They don't need to sell, so they can just basically name their price and be like, yeah, if you want to take another one of our top players, it's going to cost you. They don't have to sell. Like, they're fine with it. So if somebody does come in and pay the price tag, excellent for Frankfurt and go out and replace and stuff like that. But if they get to keep him, then they're happy with it. So, 80 million is just out of the question. Can't be paying that.
But something we've been briefing, well, not briefing, but something we've all kind of agreed on, people in the chat and in the group, who whether it's been Shreyas, Chiver, the majority have said we need someone like experienced to lead the line. I think even if this Ekitike is super talented, right, you're basically saying to United fan at the minute, kind of put the goal scoring on hold a little bit just for now, just for like the next season. And it's like, no, I know if Mbermo comes in, I know if Cunha comes in, they will add goals as well naturally. But you need a figurehead. You need someone experienced in that forward line. Like, I don't know anyone else out there. I'm trying to rattle my brain thinking of strikers who are like Watkins or something. But then even then, it's how expensive is that going to be? You know, do you have any other options in mind who you would push for?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Like, I think the issue with Ekitike is if you're just asking United fans to go hope that he comes good in the season. Hope.
And it's an expensive hope.
And I think United fans are all out of hope after last season. I don't think we've got any left.
Ruined.
Like, we need to be convinced this season. Like, we need to be convinced. Cunha is a good convincing thing, and Bumo is a good convincing player. You need a convincing player to come in, and I think Ekitike is just not that guy. As talented as he may be, he's just not that guy. I would be happy if we say went for Mateta. I think that's a shrewd buy. I think he fits the system. He plays in the system at Crystal Palace. He's a bully. He's strong. He can hold up play. He can play in between like Cunha and Mbeumo. I think that's a solid buy. And then maybe you do keep Xerxes and Hoyland. I don't know. Maybe he leaves, but I think that's a solid buy. Me and Shreyas talked about Sorloth at Atletico. His record's really, really good for the last 3 seasons. He's scored like 20 plus goals each season, and he's not the main man because Alvarez is. Would he be looking for a move to be the main man and be the main striker somewhere and move away from Atletico? Maybe he would. I don't think his wages are that big, and he's injury free as well. Like, he's not had many injuries, so that could be another option. So there's options out there, and he's experienced. He's 26, 27, perfect age. He's had 3 or 4 seasons, 20 plus goals in a top team in Europe. So I think there's options out there. It's just whether are United looking at these players, or have we gone Delap? Okay, that's not come off. Gyokeres was the next one, right? That's not happening. And the Ekitike seems to be in the plans, and then I've not Osimhen is off in the distance somewhere. So I've not really heard any other names that have been chucked into the hat, really.
The list that we're getting down to now, though, isn't it? It was like, right, it seemed like Delap was the one we was going for. Yeah. Chelsea snatch him. Seems like Gyokeres was going for. Arsenal snatch him. Seems we get the further and further we get down this list, the more I get worried. And there was still quality players there. Someone mentioned in the chat before Mateo. And obviously Mateta's played. I know, obviously, you spoke about him before, but I know he plays in a similar system at Crystal Palace, and I know he's 40 million-ish, Prem proven, all that kind of stuff. But it's like I said to Aaron in the chat before, it doesn't really excite me that much. Like, he's never scored over 14 goals in a season.
But if he can get 12 to 14 goals next season, Mbeumo gets, what did he get last year? 20. Say he gets 15. Cunha gets 12 to 15. Bruno chips in with 10. Ahmad chips in with 10. That'd be enough. Like, that's enough for next season to get us into European football or the top half and stuff like that. And then next summer, maybe things look different. Maybe Osimhen hasn't moved and he's stuck and he'll drop his wage demands. Maybe Gyokeres ends up staying at Sporting. And like Sesko's gone there, so then there's like other so there's always changes in football. So I think you might not always be able to get the perfect target in the window. So, and I think it looks like that's turning out to be the case right now. Unless they just go, yeah, fuck it, we'll pay Osimhen what he's asking for. But then you're asking for trouble because other players are going to start going, well, I want that, and then I want that, and it causes issues.
Well, some other theories that are getting chucked around is looking internally. And by that, I don't mean Rasmus Højlund. I definitely don't mean that. But Xerxes, for example, is more of a false nine being used. And then you have Mbeumo and Cunha carrying that extra difference in terms of goals and stuff. But I just, going into a season and they're saying Joshua Xerxes, your main number 9, it does nothing for me at all. To go from being linked with a striker who has got 60-plus goals in Europe, in the Champions League and the Portuguese League, for whatever that's worth, to dropping down and saying you got a striker who might deliver 10 to 15 goals, that's not enough. Like, we're assuming Mbeumo and Cunha are going to get those figures right, but both of them players have overachieved in their XG significantly for both teams. So naturally, their goals and their threat and statistically what they offer might drop off a little bit. So we might not deliver those figures. It might be 10 goals between them, 15 goals, and that's still not enough for us. It's more than what we last season, but let's be clear, that bar is low, innit, in terms of a comparison for what we was doing our output.
But like you look at last season, nobody was providing any output, were they? Like, not a single player was providing output in terms of goal scoring. So, you think, if their numbers do drop off, I still think 10 to 12 goals from Cunha, 10 to 12 goals from Mbeumo, that's 20 to 24 goals extra that we didn't have last season. Where does that put us? Ahmad hopefully stays fit for most of the season. He could chip in. Maybe Joshua Xerxes works better in this system and he managed it. I know he didn't bag any last season.
About Sam, about hope before.
But that's the only option we have currently. Like, unless we push the boat out and we go after Osimhen, like, this is what we're going to have to work with and fans are going to have to accept, which is the reality. I know people don't like it, but it's the reality, isn't it?
I think you have to push the boat out for Osimhen. You can't have teams above you trying to challenge Haaland, Isaac, Gyokeres. You know, all these teams have better strikers than us. I hate to quote the thing, like, we're Manchester United. But we are. We need a quality level striker, and there's 2 at the minute available. One of them's gone. The last one is there. If it's even like, if you can even have a conversation around it, at least try test the waters, because I don't even know if they've done that.
They will. I'm sure they will. If they haven't already, I'm sure they will. Because why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you try? Because nobody else seems to be looking at him. Like, Al Hilal tried and he turned them down.
No, yeah.
I know Galatasaray are interested as well.
Why would you not move to United? That's what I mean. Like, Galatasaray and teams in Saudi, that's your competition. and you're saying we're Man United, come and be our main number 9 in the Premier League. How is that not an attractive proposition? Even if you have to take a slight wage cut, it's madness to me.
You always see with Sancho, it's like, why would you not go to Chelsea? It's like you play first team football, you're liked by the team, you're liked by the manager, you get to play in the Europa League next season, you're pushing for European places in the Premier League. All you have to do is take a wage cut. And he was like, nah. Some players are like that. They just was like, nah, I'm not taking a wage cut. It's not happening.
Because he would still get a relatively decent. I'm sure United could offer him a package of around 200 to 250k a week, 4-year contract,
or incentive. Give him incentive. Say you get 20 goals, we'll add like a couple 100k into your pay packet at the end of the year. Or if we qualify for Europe or something, you get a bump in your pay the next year or something like that. Like, put some incentives in there. If you don't give him just a base pay. Giving some incentive, say, look, this is what you're going to start on, but if you do X, Y, Z, you get incentive-based and bonuses, and it pushes it up. Try and figure it out that way. Like, because then it works out for everybody, because if he does score 20 goals, fucking fantastic for us. If we do get in Europe, absolutely fantastic for us. So you get more money then anyway. So I think it works out for everybody at that point.
If you're a betting man now, who do you think we end up with from this point? I know it's hard to assess. Like, we put a poll up at the start of the show and we asked who would you go for next. Obviously the majority, 54% said Osimhen, 21% have said Mateta, 17% have said Sesko, and Ekitike's got 8%, so he's actually got the lowest votes from the community who have voted. But yeah, for yourself, where is it now, do you think?
I don't think it's any of them on the poll if we do bring one in. No.
Wow.
I think that the plan was obviously the lap, and that's not happened. And then Gyokeres looked like it was heating up, but if he is picked Arsenal, you can't then go back in if Arsenal don't go for him. You can't then go to him. Like, that's gone. And then it depends, like, if we can structure a deal with Osimhen. If we can do that, I don't know. Seems unlikely, but maybe. But then I don't know anybody else that we'd go for. So I think we might go into the season with, like you said, Mbeumo, Cunha, and maybe Xerxes is the false 9. I think that's what we might end up with.
Yeah, that's... I don't know, I'm just not, like... I was getting excited. I made a graphic and everything, you know, Gyokeres and Mbeumo, Cunha together, and then I thought, well, that's going out the fucking window. Can't do that show now, so... Yeah, Ekitike seems like the one. That's what's been reported from, I think, Florian Plettenberg coming out of Germany. It seems like that might be the next kind of target on the list. Whether it is or not, I'm sure we'll get more development. So keep an eye out for that. On Sunday Social when we go live tomorrow. Just a quick live tonight, just to kind of give our take on it, our opinions, and where we go next with the striker situation, because it is a very, very important role to fill for next season. You can't go into another season with those two. I'm sorry, you just can't do it. It was such a struggle watching Højlund and Xerxes. Well, not necessarily Xerxes, but I just can't do it, and it's frustrating the life out of me. So hopefully they've got plans, they've got backups who they're going to go for. But yeah, for any kind of updates, social media, bottom right hand corner of your screen, Instagram, X, and TikTok, it will all be on there. So please do drop us a follow. Tim99 saying Mateta doesn't inspire me at all. I'm the same. Kaz is saying Osimhen for me. And Aemia says, as a Serie A watcher, United should sign Castellanos. Can't even say that name. From Lazio. Never watched him before, I have to be completely honest with you. And we've been stung from Serie A, haven't we, with Rasmus?
Maybe with sales, it's obviously potentially sales, Anthony, Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, others, if possible. Maybe that's the point where United go look at their finances and go, maybe we can push the boat out for Osimhen and offer him something if we can get these sales done. Maybe that's what happens later in the window. Maybe that's a possibility. But again, it's ifs, buts and maybes in it. It's like, can that happen? Will it happen? If it happens. So, yeah, there's nothing concrete at the minute, unfortunately. As a United fan, there's nothing like where you go, that's probably going to happen.
I think that's a good save for me. If you go, right, we're not getting Gyokeres, and then you turn around and like, a deal's been done for Osimhen, I'm more excited by that. I'm more like Osimhen, Cunha, and then Mbeumo is a joke of a front three.
United fans will be like right back on board if you pull that off. United fans will be back on board.
Yeah, for sure. We all thought this, didn't we, with the Gyokeres
This was the
deal?
no-brainer. This was the banker. This was the one that couldn't fail. This was one that's never failed.
And it has. He's chosen Arsenal over us. He is now enemy number one. Make that known when he turns up at Old Trafford, whenever he plays against us. You know, yeah, boo the fuck out of him. Done now. Gyokeres is so. This might get clipped up. Imagine if we end up signing him.
Yeah.
He's so gone to me now, far back. Like, if you've chosen Arsenal over us,
Done.
you're dead in the water, mate.
Over.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned.
Over.
United never buys 11. Gyokeres is 11 and won't come to United. Makes no sense whatsoever. Right, we'll leave it at that. Clearly, some people are tired. We'll be back tomorrow for Sunday Social. Appreciate everyone tuning in, whatever it is you're doing at this time on a Saturday night.